The year is 1967. The Cold War is at its absolute frigid peak. The world is a chessboard, and every move is a matter of global survival. On one side, the United States, champion of freedom. On the other, the Soviet Union, the monolithic red threat. And caught in the middle, the silent, invisible war of espionage, fought with gadgets, secrets, and an unwavering belief that no idea was too outlandish if it could give you an edge. No idea was too outlandish indeed, because deep within the top-secret halls of the CIA, brilliant minds were grappling with one of the most pressing intelligence problems of the era: how to bug a park bench or an embassy windowsill. And their solution, after years of research, millions of dollars, and countless secret meetings, was a cat. This isn't a cartoon. This isn't a joke. This is the true, utterly baffling, and tragically hilarious backstory of Operation Acoustic Kitty. Imagine the scene. Two high-ranking Soviet officials meeting in secret. Not in a secure bunker, but out in the open, on a park bench, believing the natural sounds of the city, rustling leaves, distant traffic, the chirping of birds, would mask their hushed tones. They'd never suspect, never imagine, that the fluffy, purring creature rubbing against their ankles was listening to every single word. This was the dream. A dream born of desperation. The Cold War was a constant game of cat and mouse, and the mouse, the Soviet Union, was proving incredibly adept at hiding its secrets. Traditional bugging methods were too risky. Placing wires, miniature microphones, or even tiny transmitters often required direct access to enemy territory, leading to agents being caught, exposed, or worse. The CIA needed an alternative. Something undetectable. Something alive. The agency's Technical Services Division, a playground for clandestine gadgeteers, began exploring radical new ideas. Drones were decades away. Satellites were rudimentary. What if, they wondered, nature itself could be weaponized? Dogs were too easily distracted. Birds flew away. Squirrels were too twitchy. But cats were different. They were small, agile, quiet, and could blend into almost any urban environment. They could approach targets without suspicion, settle down for a nap, and seemingly listen to a conversation with the inscrutable indifference only a feline can truly master. It was an insane idea, and the CIA loved it. And so, in the early 1960s, a classified project was born: Operation Acoustic Kitty. The goal: to surgically transform a living, breathing feline into a mobile, autonomous bugging device. The budget? Estimates vary, but figures as high as $20 million have been whispered. In 1960s money, that's hundreds of millions today. The process was intricate. Surgeons, working for the US government, began the delicate work of transforming a normal domestic cat into a Cold War spy. A tiny microphone, no bigger than a grain of rice, was surgically implanted deep into the cat's ear canal, close to its auditory nerve. This was the listening device. Then, a miniature radio transmitter was carefully placed at the base of its skull to broadcast any intercepted audio. And finally, to act as an antenna, a thin wire was skillfully threaded through the fur along the cat's spine, ultimately terminating in its tail. The cat was now, technically, a walking, purring espionage machine. But there was a problem. A big one. Cats, as any owner will tell you, are not known for their unwavering obedience or their keen sense of duty. They are independent, easily distracted, and governed by whims. How do you train a cat to walk up to a specific target, settle down, and then stay put while the conversation unfolds? The answer, the CIA discovered, was incredibly difficult. The cat would often just wander off, distracted by a bird, a rustling leaf, or simply deciding it was nap time. The scientists tried everything: food rewards, electronic stimulation, even attempts to manipulate its hunger drives to make it stay near people who might have dropped food. They found themselves wrestling with the fundamental nature of the feline. A cat simply doesn't care about the Cold War. It cares about naps and chasing string. The project dragged on for years. Countless hours were spent in training facilities, trying to instill some semblance of mission focus into their furry operatives. But even when the cat did cooperate, another issue arose. The cat's own internal sounds, its purring, its stomach rumbling, the scratching of its claws, would often interfere with the sensitive microphone, rendering the intercepted audio useless. Back to the drawing board. More surgical adjustments, more millions spent. Despite the mounting difficulties and the eye-watering costs, the CIA was determined. The potential reward, an undetected mobile listening device, was too great to abandon. Finally, after years of surgical experimentation and frustrating training sessions, a cat was deemed mission-ready. It was time for a real-world test, a highly sensitive top-secret mission that would determine the fate of Operation Acoustic Kitty. The target, two foreign officials, believed to be Soviet agents, engaged in a clandestine conversation on a park bench just across the street from the van. The acoustic cat was gently placed on the ground, its tiny high-tech implants buzzing with purpose. The agents in the van held their breath, their eyes glued to their monitors, anticipating the first clear audio from their feline spy. The cat, perhaps sensing its moment of destiny, began to cross the street, heading directly towards the target bench. The agents smiled. This was it. History was about to be made. Then, disaster struck. In the cruelest twist of fate, the CIA's multi-million-dollar super spy, Operation Acoustic Kitty's most promising operative, was instantly terminated by a taxi just outside the target building. The agents were stunned. The mission, literally, had been run over. They immediately retrieved the mangled remains of their furry asset, hoping to salvage the equipment, but the project was undeniably, catastrophically compromised. The entire operation had lasted mere moments. After its first and only field test ended with a taxi, Operation Acoustic Kitty was officially cancelled. A declassified memo admitted the obvious. While cats could be trained, the real world was just too unpredictable. In short, you can't program a cat, but the story became a symbol of Cold War absurdity, an era where stakes were so high, no idea, no matter how outlandish, was off the table. It's a hilarious lesson in the limits of human control, a reminder that a $20 million spy mission can be completely derailed by a single, unsuspecting taxi driver. Perhaps the cat had the right idea all along, prioritizing naps over espionage. What do you think? Was this a brilliant failure or just a ridiculous waste of money? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more unbelievable backstories.